Hi, I'm Bill Somack, and in this video, we're going to talk about practice techniques. So practicing is about building muscle memory, but not just any muscle memory. We're trying to build the right kind of muscle memory so that if you have a difficult passage, you can eventually play that passage well, but it's like if you're running a marathon, you don't start out running a marathon. You start out by running shorter distances first to build your endurance to be able to run the longer distance. So I'm going to play a passage here. This would be an example passage of something we might be learning. So I'm going to just use this example. So if that was the passage that we were needing to learn, our starting point is that we need to start at a tempo that's completely comfortable and easy to play. So in order to do that, that would involve slowing the tempo down to something that's very easy. But then also the other thing is that we would want to start with a very small number of notes. So maybe we would need to start with 2 notes and then build from there. So here is an example. So if you were going to start out, so again, here's the passage. So you might start out doing So what I'm doing there is I started out with 2 notes very slow at a tempo that's very easy and not stressful to play, because if it's stressful, then it's going to get frustrating for you as you try to build the speed. So you want to always start from a point where it's very easy and not stressful to play, and then you build like a change. So you start with 2 notes, then you might go to 3 notes and 4 notes. And another very important thing is that you want to, as you're building the correct muscle memory, you're trying to build the muscle memory that you will need in order to play it fast. So what you need to do is when you're playing slowly, you need to use the same muscle memory that you will use when you play it fast. So if it's going to be played like this eventually, what you want to do when you're playing it slowly is you want to use the same amount of bow, and you want to be using the exact same physical approach when you play it slowly. So if you were doing it like this. So you can see that even though I was playing it very slowly, I'm using the same amount of bow that I use when I will be playing it fast at the tempo that I want to reach. So you need to use the same amount of bow that you would be using when you play the passage fast. So again, you want to start out by building it. If you need to, start with just 2 notes at a time. Then, if that feels comfortable, So that's an example of how you would build the chain. You would start with 2 notes at a time, then do 3 notes, 4 notes, but always make sure as you're progressing that you're still comfortable when you play. It's easy and it's not stressful, so you want it to feel pretty easy to play as you're building that chain. And then once you have the chain built, one way you can do it is you can build the chain like I just did at the very slow tempo, and then you can take a metronome and you can use the metronome to help build speed. So you can take a metronome here and I'll turn it on. So as an example, you can do this. So that's a slow tempo. And then what you can do is once you've done what I did before, which was to build the chain until I had the entire passage, I played the entire passage at a very slow tempo, then what you can do is then you can use the metronome and you can speed up the metronome and use that to build your speed as you're playing the entire passage at faster and faster tempos. So it's very important, again, to review when you're starting to practice something, you practice a passage, you want to make sure to start at a tempo that is slow enough that it's very, very comfortable to play. And also, if you have to break it down into its smallest components, start with 2 notes at a time. You can go 3 notes, 4 notes. You can build it like that so that you are building the muscle memory sequentially and you're adding links to the chain. So that's a very good way of practicing. And the other very important thing for your muscle memory is if you're playing, the passage has a lot of fast notes. You want to make sure that you're using the same muscle memory when you're playing slow as what you're going to need when you play the passage at full speed. So you want to make sure when you're practicing it slow. Because eventually it's going to be. And so I'm using the exact same amount of bow when I play it slow as when I play it up to speed. So it's very important when you're practicing at slower speeds that you're building the same muscle memory that you need when you play the passage at its correct faster speed. So I will continue to review these practice techniques in my Bill's Play Free method. If you want to go into further depth about practicing slowly, I talk about this in my violin method, which is linked in the description here. So if you want to get deeper into this, you can do that. I have a monthly membership that you can cancel anytime. But these are very important techniques to be able to practice effectively without getting frustrated. So hopefully this will be very helpful for you as you're learning the violin.